is so great. I'm just going to ask her to kind of help manage the line. I mean, I see a line of people, so I'm going to have her help me. And I'm just going to ask all of the loved ones and spirits, because it's a small room, I'm going to ask the angels and the spirit guides for those of us in this room as well to step forward and to use me as a vessel to give information, and that everything that happens here tonight is for our highest good, and to allow connections and love and light and all of that. So I do want to start over here because I feel the male energy very strongly, and I think it's your dad. I mean, I get it's your dad, and he's standing behind you, and he was kind of behind you, and now he's kind of like, I'm first. Like, everybody get out of my way. And I don't know if he was tall in real life, but he's very strong, very big energy. Like, it feels like, I don't know why this reminds me of, like, I want to say, like, Johnny Cash or something, because his presence is so, like, that kind of energy in the sense that, like, he's got a button-down shirt, and he's very, like I feel like when he walked into a room, he was really powerful. Does that make sense to you?
Mm-hmm. He was a Sag.
Oh, okay. So he's the life of the party then. Yeah, he's really potent. And he's showing, now do you have a daughter? He's showing
Yes.
a female, your daughter? Okay. And is there something going on with her? Because what he's shown, don't answer that yet. So he's showing me your daughter, and he's showing like, I'm seeing like a wedding, so I don't know but it feels older. Like, I'm just thinking he's saying he was at her wedding. Does that make sense to you, or is she?
Well, she's going to be in a wedding.
Okay.
And she's very excited.
Okay. Yeah, he's definitely like, what he's showing me is he's going to be with her, and he's showing this wedding. I feel like it's her wedding too. How old is she?
20.
20. So she's not. I think it's not too far away, probably.
Okay.
Because it feels like he's like almost like walking down the aisle with her, even though he's grandpa. Now he's showing me for you, I'm seeing like a piece of jewelry or a gemstone or something. Do you have something of his?
I have a college pin.
Okay.
He gave me jewelry though.
Okay. He's showing me the exact, and see, this is where, I don't know if it's literal or symbolic, so I'm just going to tell you what I see, but I see a necklace that's got a pretty big stone that's darker. I can't tell if it's red or green because he's showing me an image. You're kind of standing away, and there's there's some kind of necklace, and he's acknowledging that. I don't know why. I don't know if that's a way to connect with him or what that's about, but just something for you to know. Oftentimes they bring up stuff like that, like if you were to wear that, you might connect with him, or if you hold it in your hands or something like that. So if a piece of jewelry comes to mind, that's what he's acknowledging. And again, it could be literal, it could be symbolic, which is why I'm telling you what I'm seeing.
Well, I just got a charoite.
Oh.
I was drawn to purchase one of those.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, very high energy as my next step. What's my next step?
I like that.
Yeah.
Now, where's Mom? Because he's acknowledging Mom now.
She's in Grand Junction.
Okay, so he shows me, he, in a playful way, she irritates him.
Yes.
So he's not like grouchy, but it's kind of like in a playful way, he's like, she kind of irritates me. And he's showing he keeps his distance. Like, he watches her, he wants her to be okay, but he kind of stays back off her because she's kind of does her thing, I feel, and he kind of lets her do her thing. But he's always watching. And there's something about the yard or upkeeping the yard. There's something about the yard that bugs him. And so he's like upset about the yard. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, because he always took care of the yard, and a tree has just died.
Oh, sad.
But
well, there's the tree I saw earlier because I was like, oh, let's see a tree.
she turned around. She was in the kitchen. She turned around and she saw him.
Oh, that's so cool.
Not long after he died, and it freaked her out.
Wow.
And she turned back around. And then she got brave and turned around again, and he was gone.
Wow.
So,
that
and
gives me goosebumps.
yeah.
Wow. Well, yeah, he's upset about the upkeep on the yard. So
she doesn't do it.
Yeah, well, yeah. I think he'd prefer if she did or got somebody to do it because he's a little grouchy about the yard for sure. And then he's showing, do you still have his tools? He's showing all his tools. And where are those at?
Well, they're in my mom's garage, and my husband uses the tools when he
Okay.
helps my mom around the house.
Okay, that's good, because he loves the tools.
Yes.
His tools were kind of his deal. And he really liked woodworking, I'm seeing. Like, he liked to build things. And so, people ask, well, what do they do over there? Well, there's no time or space. You got to imagine I think there's like 11 dimensions or something. I don't remember. It's been a while since I've read about the different dimensions, but there's a lot of dimensions, and they can do all sorts of things. So they can manifest all sorts of stuff. So people do, when they're in the spirit world, they do like to do things. And so what I see with him is he likes to build stuff. He really does. And there's another male energy. Now, do you have more than one daughter or just the one?
Just one daughter.
Okay, there's another male energy that's coming in, but I don't feel like it's your son. I feel like it's a son-in-law. I'm so shocked your daughter's not married, because this is like a theme here. But it's showing that there's a man that's going to come into the picture that likes to build things. So I'd be shocked if your daughter's going to meet somebody soon.
Well, I mean, I'm remodeling my house.
Hmm?
I'm remodeling my house.
Are
right
you
now.
remodeling your house? Is it a man that's managing that? Okay. Because he's showing this male energies coming in that likes to build things, and that makes him really happy because he likes to build things. So that's cool. Let me see what else he has to say. I mean, really, he wanted you to know, like, he's with you. He's thinking of you. He wanted to be first. He wanted to make a point of that. I don't know what the Johnny Cash thing is, but I see it again. So there's something about that. I don't know if he liked him or if he's just like him, his energy. I don't know, but there's something about that. Do you have a question or questions for him? He's showing me his boots now. Did he wear work boots?
Yes.
Because he's showing me his work boots, and he was particular about his work boots, and he's showing like he was particular about them, how they looked or something.
He worked for Commonwealth Edison, so he used to climb poles.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, so I don't know if, but later on in life, he did like get cowboy boots and, a bolo tie.
I mean, I hear like he liked his boots clean, and like he had a boot thing. I think he had a little bit of a boot fetish.
Yeah, I may not have
Liked his
been
boots.
quite aware, but he did go out and get himself some boots. I do remember that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so questions.
Well, not long after he died, I had given him this metal old car that played King of the Road. And I would be downstairs, and all of a sudden it would start to play King of the Road.
Oh, I love
So
it.
I wondered if that was
Well, of
him
course it's
saying
him.
hello.
You know, that's the thing. Like, we never trust our intuition. So, of course, it's him. Of course. He does something with your car radio, too. Does it ever come on your car radio? Or a song that reminds you of him? I'd pay attention to your car radio.
Okay, he hosted a jazz radio program before
Oh,
he
that's cool.
died. Yeah. So, but I'll watch my radio.
Yeah, watch your radio, because I think he talked to you through that for sure.
Johnny Cash is going to play in your favorite.
I know. I'm like, seriously, Johnny Cash.
A lot. I see. God bless Johnny Cash.
Do you really? There's something with this guy
That's
in the
that's
Johnny
what
him
it
Cash.
is.
showing up. So that's why he's telling her that.
That's
'Cause that's him
exactly
showing
it.
up.
There you go.
That's it. Because
Wow.
I see that bumper sticker.
And I've never seen that bumper sticker.
I've
I
never
always
seen
see that bumper sticker.
You know,
I don't know why Johnny Cash
that
is
he's
here,
letting her
but
know.
he has shown me his face.
I want
like,
you to know that that's him
Yes.
showing up.
Yeah.
That's it. So I have one other question.
Yeah.
And when my son was little, he was afraid to go in his room because he kept seeing this man.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to scare him, but I said, honey, I don't know who that is. I don't see the man, you see the man.
Mm-hmm.
And I always wondered if that was my father, because my children are from China. And when we were in China when my dad was in the process of getting ready to die, and he would have prophetic dreams about coming to China and seeing on a river, and we were on a river. So I knew he was there, and when we were in China, there was a group of people. I woke up and I don't see anything, and in the middle of the night I could see a group of people around the crib of my son.
Wow.
And so I wondered who it was that maybe came to see Alex, because My father only saw him once.
Mhm.
We got back from China and we drove up, and that weekend, that following Monday, my father passed. And he only saw my son once, but SARS was going on
Okay.
when we had just gone into Iraq, and so there was military presence. SARS was just over, and so there was a lot of angst around going to China and getting my son.
So I get yes. One of the nights was your dad. But there's another grandfather energy that was showing up for him as well, for your son. And I actually get it's his grandfather. Like,
I was just saying his birth grandfather.
yeah.
Yes.
And
Nice.
I can see the face really clearly. Let me see if I can pull him in. So there is a distinct message. So the grandfather of your son, the birth grandfather, is very ancient. His energy is very ancient, like his bloodline's ancient.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of that energy in your son.
Mm-hmm.
And so what he's showing me, he's got a very monk-like, subtle, ancient energy, really cool energy, but it's really subtle. And what he's showing me is that he wanted to make sure that his grandson was placed well. That's his words. He's placed well. He wanted to make sure he was in, and he doesn't want me to use the right spot because he's too monk-like for that. He's saying placed well, like he wanted to make sure he was where he was supposed to be to achieve what he needed to achieve. And so he was there watching him often. You know, and it's no secret that your son's psychic, right, if he was seeing spirits, but the energy I see is that there's a deep lineage inside your son, and as he gets older, I see mid-30s, he's going to be intensely drawn towards what his actual calling is, what his focus is. He's very curious, like, how old's your son right now?
He's 15.
15. So what I see is he's very curious about religions and philosophies and worlds and, you know, all of this stuff. But he's like only dipped his toe in the water as the image you're showing me. And what I see is that this will continue to unfold. He has a great wisdom to come into the world. He may be a doctor of some kind. There's like doctor energy. I see him a lot of education with him, like a lot of education for a long time. Like he will never stop learning. And he's interested in all these things. So it's good. It's good. So yeah, so yes, I get a yes from your dad that yes, definitely he was there to see him, but it really was this grandfather more than your dad.
I'm just so grateful that his grandfather from that lineage was with him. Very, very grateful about both of my children to have that connection with their birth families.
Yeah, well, and this grandfather, I don't know if you have a picture of him or something, but what I'm seeing is if you can bring his energy back into your son's space, it would be really positive for your son, whether it's a picture of him in his room or some kind of token to honor that lineage or his religion or whatever it is. There's something that you can put in your son's space that will bring that energy in. They call it Shakti in the yogi traditions, but Shakti, it's an opening of energy. It's like when you go see a movie and you learn about a story, it opens up all these things you hadn't thought about before. It's the same thing with that kind of energy, but I feel like it'd be good to bring that into a space somehow.
Yeah, we got no information about his birth family. So we did buy one thing from his province that I recently put into his room.
Perfect. So you're on track.
Okay.
That's all you need to do, because he needs that energy. Does he meditate, your son?
No, he's just starting to open up to the voodoo that I do. I practice massage therapy and energy work and crystals and so I read him something about, he's a Pisces, I read him something about Pisces, and he says, That's unnervingly accurate. And so but he's starting.
Well, if he meditates with that token, that would be where I would start. He needs to open up his lineage, his history within himself. It's like an etheric DNA opening, and that will happen if he holds that token and does some meditation. So I do some work with him
like
around
an
that.
Embroidery thing. It may be a little. It's on a
Just have him sit
stand.
in front of it, maybe.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. He's very interested in Asian cultures.
Mhm. Yeah, he's got a lamasery inside of him. So
Mm.
yeah.